be able to go along with one of the other board members.
Oh, the charging stations.
And try to get Core's, company to come in and take a look at how much it costs.
Congratulations, all settled in already?
To do what?
Put in,
Oh, yeah.
people have to pay.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I got.
Yeah, I got.
That's a start. Congratulations.
It doesn't stop for you, does it? No.
Sounds
terrible.
I guess. They're supposed to talk to me tomorrow.
Okay.
Then after,
Whenever you're ready.
We can start. Meeting to order. First item on the agenda is pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you have Tyler's report? Being there at the chair.
No,
Yeah, I'm thinking this.
yeah, for some reason I thought you had already taken one.
Oh, no, that's okay. All right. Any changes, additions, deletions to the agenda? Okay,
Is there a solicitor's permit on that? Did I, do we have this one?
oh yes, there is,
Okay.
number 10 on True Green. Okay, first, next item is our meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2025.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mark.
second,
Thank you.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Okay.
under duress.
Wow.
He's
What do
getting
you
rough
want?
tonight. Wow.
Abstract number 19.
So moved.
I'll second.
In case you're curious,
Karen will
the
tell
amount
us the amount.
of abstract 19 is $113,263.59.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
The treasurer's report gave us a nice graph.
Yeah, but basically it just shows that expenditures up to this point, it reflects up to mid-March, actually. Not sure why I couldn't get it to include all of March. But everybody's, the accounts seem to be on track. And line up with the modified budget as far as the expenditures.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the report.
I'll move to.
Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Fire department.
I got
numbers.
two, applications. Nicholas Rosino, wonder if his father went to, his father was a fireman at, Nida.
I don't think so. Well, that was his father-in-law, right? That's coming from Connecticut? There's stuff.
Yeah, his father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
His
Father in Connecticut.
Oh,
So the father-in-law was interested in being fire service.
He's the other one.
yeah, with this guy, Rosino, okay,
Yeah, but
This-
it could be.
this would have been the grandfather, his grandfather. For Nida. They have all that conflict with the Indians. Because they weren't supposed to go on the Indian territory or something like that, fighting fires.
I don't know, he's a, geez, what do they call? On the boat.
What?
He's a boat, one,
Merchant Marine?
no, not a merchant marine, but
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard. He's a Coast Guard guy.
Well, anyway, he wants to do
Yeah,
firefighting and EMS.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Then we have Cliff Olson, firefighter.
He's the he's the father-in-law of Nick.
So move.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye. I have two more. These are Rams going to full members. First one is Killian Clay. He was Ram for 2 years and now he was turned 18, so he's gonna do fire and EMS. And the other one's Claire Bingham. She's gonna do EMS. She was a Ram as well for 2 years and now is full membership. Those are the two that I have.
Go individually. So move. Second. Favorite.
Aye.
And. Both of them,
You do both of them, you want?
do that again, you're okay.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I've got it. So
Okay.
collectively,
It'd be the same
you
again.
accepted both of
Both,
them.
nice, yeah.
I told you we used the turtle for the first time today on an actual incident, which was pretty nice.
No.
Turtle car that goes underneath EV cars and cools the battery.
Oh, really?
We had a EV car fire in Kirkville
Mhm.
and on Route 5. So with no hydrant there, it was kind of a challenge, but brought a tanker in, slid the turtle underneath there, cooled the battery down from 400 to 86. And
And then it was safe.
that was safe to transport, so it was pretty cool.
So what does it cool it with?
Water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big, long turtle
Mhm.
with holes in it with a big long tube. Yep. And you just put water to it, push it underneath the car.
And
That's
use
great.
the tanker truck for the water.
Yeah, well, we used our truck first before the tanker got there, then Kirkville's engine, and then Manlis's tanker. We used about 2,500 gallons to cool it.
Wow, it's
That was
better than what goes on otherwise.
Yeah. We could have been there for hours.
Very good.
It was pretty
Very
cool.
pleased with that outcome.
The only other thing I have is service on ladders and hose that we do annually.
Mhm.
I think it comes in around $3,000. They do it per feet and per foot of ladders and feet of hose. So that's budgeted in my budget.
What was the cost?
It averages around $3,000.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Break that on, just make sure you're right on them.
I don't know when they're gonna do it. I just gotta schedule it.
Yeah, but I mean, what meeting? The meeting. That we did in that.
Today's meeting that it was.
Yeah. Yep, that's everything I have.
Oh, okay. DPW, so Tyler was not able to be here tonight. He has sent us his memo with his updates, so regarding the canal landing bathrooms, Aqua's scheduled to turn the water on at the end of next week. They'll be open to the public the following week after being inspected for repairs and stocked with supplies. Typically, they are open the last week of April. The Do Good Dog Park has had some damage from a fallen tree on the outside perimeter of it. I believe it's the outside perimeter, and around 50 foot of the rear fence needs to be fixed. There is a quote to fix that of a little $2,200 and some dollars, not too much over $2,200. Once that has been repaired, then the park will be open for use again for the spring, summer season, fall season. Also while the park was closed and before the tree fell, someone decided that they would break into the dog park and utilize it. So we had some damage to the gate and the lock because somebody couldn't read the sign that said it was closed for winter and not reopened yet, but that's been addressed and will be addressed also. His surplus equipment that we already have voted on to surplus, the grapple loader, the refuse packer, the plow dump truck, are set to go live bidding on Auctions International tonight. Bidding will end on April 24th. And the village board will review those results at our next meeting on April 27th. Spring cleanup, brush is extremely heavy this time of year. Tyler's asking the residents to please be patient as our crews make their way around the entire village each week, starting on Monday. Please keep debris clear of the roadway and storm drains. And plow damage cleanup to lawns has been completed and topsoil seeding will begin this coming week. In regards to the brush, he told me that one location had, they spent 4 hours picking up the brush in front of one location today. So there's a lot of people that are, as soon as the weather turns nice, they're getting their lawns and their yards in shape. And so they've been shut in for a long, cold winter and they're ready to get out there and do some yard work. And so they've done a lot of yards, basically. Hello, Jane.
I apologize for my delay, but it's Delta's fault.
I understand it. Okay.
We need for the fence, do we need a motion on that or no? For the repairs on the fence?
Let's have a motion for repairing the fence at the dog park. On our end, we are going to check with the insurance company in regards to that. The deductible may be such that it would be best just to pay for it out of our funds instead of insurance, but while we have a motion to fix that fence, and we will do it appropriately to one of those two banners, either directly from the village paying for it or turning it into as an insurance
The
claim.
invoice, I think it was about 2,300.
Yeah, it was just under, it was a little over 22, but it wasn't over 23, so up to $2,300.
So I'll move to repair the fence and this.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Next on the agenda is the public hearing regarding our village budget for 26-27. Before I open the public hearing, I have a few things to say about our budgets and our budget process. So the process, as many people know, but possibly not everybody, in developing the budget for the coming year consists of reviewing requests from department heads, review the needs of our commissions, parks, tree, and historic, review the needs of village-owned properties, review payroll requests and needs, contractual requirements, and other employees. We typically consider a 3% cost of living increase. We review employee benefits, retirement, health insurance, etc. And we review liability insurance costs, amongst other things that come up during that process. Those are the bigger items. Budget workshops are held where we meet with department heads to discuss their needs, discuss the needs of our commissions, discuss the maintenance needed on village properties, review the payroll and benefits, review of insurance costs, review of revenue sources outside of the tax levy. We create then a tentative budget, which has been presented to the public and as part of the public hearing this evening. After that public hearing, we possibly will make revisions to the tentative budget. And then at our final meeting in April, in 2 weeks, we would adopt the budget for the coming year, all complying with the state mandated timeframes of when things have to happen. The village board is responsible for the health and safety of the residents, and I prepared a fact sheet about those responsibilities that's in the back of the room if anybody would like a copy. Karen is also going to post it online for anyone that isn't here to get a copy but would like to see what that is. This includes most of the more prominent things that we do, although there's obviously so many things that the village does for its residents that not everything could be listed on those sheets, but gives you kind of an overview of the volume of work and the tasks that are performed by our departments in the village. As in the past years, this board has worked diligently to provide the best services and amenities for our residents and to give them to the residents at the lowest possible cost. This year, we all face challenging economic times, both from rising costs and reduced governmental assistance. And the board seriously took these challenges into consideration during the budget process. Some examples of increased costs to provide the services you receive include employee benefits. Our state pension for the employees is up 32.8%. Our fire pension for those employees is up 40.5%. Medical insurance is up 15%. Fuel costs for the Department of Public Works, Fire and EMS is up 13+%. Insurance liability costs are up 10%. And electricity and natural gas are up. Again, electricity was up according to facts that I researched. Electricity is up 17.2% in 2025 and is going up another 7.3% in 2026 and continues to rise. Gas the same, not the same, quite the same percentages, but 11.7% each year. When we create the budget and have the expenses, we have designated $213,000 to be used from our unexpended fund balance to fund the fire department reserve account for his planned equipment purchases and the village property reserve account and the snow removal equipment, which is listed in the budget. This budget year, after 4 budget workshops and careful review, the following is what is proposed in a tentative budget. Our overall budget is increased by 9.5%, tax levy increased by 12.65%, and the tax rate, according to what you saw publicly as the tentative budget, would mean a tax rate increase from $6.60 to $6.81 per thousand. The change currently in process is increasing a revenue source by $20,000, which would lower the tax rate to $6.77, which would be a 1.5% increase from the current $6.60 tax rate that we currently have. Just to give the public some historical information, in 2016 to 2017, the tax rate increased by 7.5% and remained unchanged at that tax rate until 2023. In 2023, the tax rate was decreased by this board by 1.4%. In 2024, the tax rate decreased by this board by another 1.4%. And last year, this board decreased the tax rate by 5.7%. So if you look at the tax rate of 720 to 660, in those years, the last 3 years, the tax rate was reduced by 9%. This year, as I mentioned, has had very difficult and challenging times based upon increased costs. The departments held their budgets basically to what they were last year for the most part. And the increases that we see are mainly from those items that I just talked about. I'd like to thank the department heads for their diligence in coming up with the numbers that they did to hold our budget as close to normal as we could this particular challenging year. I'd like to thank Karen and the village clerk and the village clerk's office for their help in preparing for the budget and the workshops and what goes into that. And I'd like to thank James Pompo from FJ Pompo and Company, who we have hired this year to do our accounting services and who has helped prepare this budget with us and review things with the village board. So with that, I have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now we would take comments from the public.
Anybody?
Yeah, I know everything going up. What have you looked at cutting? Do you ever look at getting rid of the court? And function, I mean, what can you cut and what? You've got all these increases. I know services are important to you personally and what you offer the public, but have you looked at every possible thing to cut? To look for places to save money?
Tell me your name for the record.
Yeah, Bob Weber.
As I mentioned,
I can only say,
okay,
in my travels, when I knock on doors for the Democratic Party mails, a lot of people comment. I hear it over and over from people. I'm being priced out of here. Some of the seniors, you know, it's every year it's compounding. And I'm hearing this when I go door to door. This is what, when we talking about getting people to sign petitions to get candidates on the ballot or trying to get the vote up. I hear this over and over again.
Mhm.
So I'm just reflecting right here in the areas that I caucus. And that's why I say, you looked at every possible thing to cut. Have you looked at cutting some services? Maybe not have brush everything, maybe not have it. There's gotta be places you can cut.
we have, as far, I could speak for myself and I believe for the board that we have looked at all those places and areas to cut. And although you feel that way and others perhaps feel that way, that's not what the majority of people tell our board and tell our DPW
Have you
in
ever had a
regards to that.
referendum on it?
Pardon me?
You ever tried having an actual referendum of voters? So when you say this is what people, have you had an actual petition or?
No.
Actual, I mean, it's like, I feel like my people telling me, the people I talk to.
But your people also are experiencing the same things that you and I are in everyday life and everyday
Absolutely.
price increasing
Right.
across the board. So again, that's not any different for the village and
But
or our,
if your cost of living index, which isn't the same for a business, it's inflation 3%. And I know, benefits go up, all these other packages go up, pensions, fuel, but you're way over where inflation is. That's what I'm saying. You're just, and this is compounding. You mentioned you cut the tax rate, which is great because the assessments have been flying up, as you know. So everybody's values of the houses are higher.
correct,
If you didn't cut the rate, we'd be like in the stratosphere, mathematically, but. I think this year, I think things have quieted down a little bit, like some houses are selling for in my neighborhood. Some increases in assessments, I think maybe will flatten out a little bit, but I'm up 45% for 4 years. My tax, 45%. I had 10, 17, and 2 9s. That's what I'm up. That's a lot. And when I canvassed over in Briarbrook, where those houses are now $1 million assessment. It's shocking what they're paying. Because you can talk percentages all you want, but if you look at real dollars, it can be a lot. Just reflecting, I know you've got to put a budget together, but there's got to be a way to get this thing, because in a reasonable increase, because long term, this is not viable. Keep having big increase, big increase, big increase. You really are, it's not viable. People who rent here wouldn't think of property coming participating in this kind of form, but their rents are going to reflect these increases. You know they are. I mean, the rents already are pretty outrageous in town, but if I'm a landlord and I see a 9% increase, I'm not eating it. 10% increase, I'm not eating it. It just makes it less livable, less affordable, and it reflects on a lot of people. And I would say that probably and more likely your renters are not as high income as your homeowners.
perhaps. And we have looked at ways to cut our budget. We looked at things that we have every single year. The rest of the board can attest to that, I'm sure. That's why the tax rate was lowered. It wasn't just left alone and we take the extra money and we just put it away to use it for something else or just arbitrarily come up with something to use it on. This year, we're faced with a lot of challenges as far as increased costs, and they're not because of the services we provide or the departments that we have. These increases come from outside sources, outside of the employees, outside of the departments, outside of the things. And we do have a village that looks nice. We have a village that provides a lot of services, as you'll read about in the little flyer that we put together. And we have, I personally am not hearing from the residents that they have a problem with their village taxes, as opposed to, I oftentimes hear them talk about other taxes that they have problems with, other expenses they have outside of the
In
village.
obviously, we pay an extra level of taxes. And obviously, we get some services for that, but obviously, there are some duplications of effort between the layers of government. But that's why I said, I look at, things like having a court system, Manoa got rid of theirs. How much money did they save? Was that a big cut, low cut? What other things could be absorbed maybe by the town? I know they've been talk of consolidation of fire departments in the town. And if there was a big savings there, definitely something that I would think should be favorable to the village to look at, if there's money to be saved.
I think that when we looked at all the different services to consider cutting them. Fire service, we have our chief here, we've been in a lot of constant communication with him. Yes, the town is looking at the possibility, or the fire departments in the area are looking at the possibility of an independent fire district, but when we looked at all the services we provide our village, we don't just look at the cost of those services, we look at quality of the service that we provide as a village and whether that matters to our residents or not. Can we cut our DPW department? Can we say, okay, we've had enough, everybody go home? We're going to hire, we're not gonna worry about garbage. We're gonna let everybody figure out how they're gonna get their own garbage picked up. You're on your own. As a resident, you may not be better off.
Maybe not, I mean.
Okay, but
yeah,
not, just please hear me out. You asked the question,
Sure,
did we look at cutting services? And the very simple answer is absolutely we did. If you are interested as a resident in a direct comparison, we'll use garbage pickup. What it costs the village to do it versus what it will cost, not just in individuals getting their own garbage pickup, but to the whole village of an ununified, everybody for themselves.
Right.
You want a direct comparison, apple to apple kind of assessment? Then come to us with that request
Okay.
before the budget meeting, so we have the time and the energy and the volunteerism to help us do that, because that is a very significant effort. We've done our own independent look into that and consideration, but the point is, we take the services that are provided, fire, DPW, trash, streets. I've heard nothing but compliments in where I live about how wonderful it is that our streets are so well cleared and our sidewalks are cleared for folks to use during the bad weather.
Well, in conjunction with that statement, we have 10 people employed as DPW workers, correct? So that is correct, sorry, but I'm not asking you to correct me, but anyway, we have 10 workers, so we have to have those workers to plow our streets and to do our take care of our parks and to do other things. For them to be doing trash is just another task, or recycling or food composting that we've initiated here and things like that. I mean, we have to have them, whether we have work for them to do or not. We can't just hire 10 people to come in the wintertime to plow our roads. So it's a combination of how we look at things and how we employ people and what we expect and what we have our employees do for the
High
village
efficiency,
residents.
right?
As far as that goes, the same with the fire department. We've already made changes within the fire department, thanks to our chief, who has recommended going from firefighter EMTs to the two being separated. And so EMTs can be hired a little less expensively than firefighters. And we've already done that. In that paper that you picked up, he was able to obtain for the village a grant to help offset the salaries of 4 additional firefighters for the village. So there's things that are being done that are not necessarily reflected in our budget per se, like neon lights flashing at you saying, we're doing this, we're doing that. But there are things that behind the scenes we have been looking at with our department heads as far as how we can accomplish the things that we're trying to do and keep the prices as and the tax rate as low as we can. You mentioned we can't do anything with the assessment, and that's true. We have the village of Fayetteville has nothing to do with the assessment. That's the town of Manlius. If someone is, and obviously none of us have control over what people are willing to pay for property. And unfortunately, what people were willing to pay for property or are willing to pay for property is driving the assessments up at an unproportional rate from what they used to go up or whatever in the past. Luckily, as you mentioned, they are starting to settle down and to come back into a little bit more realistic times and things like that. But we don't have control over that. As people buy property, you buy property as an investment. Typically, it's your home, it's your place to reside. You got to have some place. So it's an investment, but it's also a place to live. And with any other type of investment, there comes a cost to having that investment. Either you pay a broker to do investing for you, or you do other things. When you own a home, that investment becomes, some of that cost becomes the taxes that you pay on it and things like that. Because as these services and as these things are being provided where you live, the value of your house is increasing because of people wanting to move here and wanting to be here. Because of the village, perhaps because of the town, because of the school, whatever the situation is, that's what's driving that up. And I do, and this board, I can safely speak for everybody, this board had those discussions about what things are costing people money in today's world just to survive and to live, and how you're making choices as to what to spend your money or how you can spend your money to get what you need to live, basically, because of the pricing just kind of going through the roof on everything. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to.
My, the only thing I have, I mean, I've sat here for budget hearings many years, and it's not an easy process, but, I understand that it's more money, it's dollars, that's the way I look at it. We can talk percent, anything you want, it's the dollars that you have to put on. And it's very difficult, because what happens is the value of my house, you said 45%, I thought mine was more than 45%, went up then. And that is what has created the assessment on it has created what everybody sees as a tax increase, which is right, because it is a dollar increase. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I know the value of my house is a lot more than, it just keeps going. And so I understand I have to do that, pay the taxes. I don't, you said something about the court to start with. And we've discussed things about the court. The reason that another local municipality could do that was it was the end of the term for a justice. We have a justice who has 2 more years left. I think at that point, that will certainly be a topic of conversation, whether, something like that is.
That's not necessarily a big savings.
Right, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, he wanted to know.
We looked at.
So,
No, yeah,
I'm saying that I don't know how much that would affect,
right.
Yeah.
what would happen.
Sure.
Okay, Mark, yes.
Actually, I want to point out what we've been working at, just so you know. Our last board meeting, we approved a MOU with the town in order to look at the examination of a joint fire district. And last Wednesday, the town actually approved for the supervisor to sign that MOU. Now, that's really a big deal, because we've been working on this project for over 8 months. This is kind of thing, working with our partners, that we've been able to work our way forward. It's going to be a slow go, because this is one of those things that has to be done properly. What we're doing is we're looking at the logistics, we're looking at the economics, we're looking at the efficiency of the possible fire district for the villages in town, and we're working together. That's the only way this is going to happen. This is actually part of our commitment to seek cost efficiencies. Because cost efficiency, if they were easy, we would have taken them already. I'm going to say that. And I think you already know that, Bob. I appreciate you being here. It's not a problem. But our whole point is to provide the services that our community wants and needs, and provide value to them. Because that's really a key component. Because if we don't provide value, there's no reason for them to be here. And we know that too. Now, there have been 3 other studies associated with this very subject: 2017, 2011, and 2008, I believe, if that's not mistaken.
85.
Huh?
85.
85, okay. And those all included the town of Manlius and the villages, the village of Manlius, Fayetteville, and Manoa, as well as the fire district of Kirkville, and also the town of Pompey. Now, those all recommended a joint fire district to relieve and control costs and maintain proper services to everybody, and they were not followed. So we're basically working hard here in order to come back, take a good look at it, and say, what are we doing and what makes sense? And that's what we're trying to work with. And so I appreciate that our supervisor for the town is actually here tonight. And I didn't know if you're going to make it here, being our liaison. You know what I'm saying too, Sarah. And but this is really one of those things, and we really look forward with working with all of our partners, because we know that if we don't work together on this, this is going to be a problem. We know we all have the same problem. Our fire service is really an issue that we all have to deal with. And when I start looking around, as you know, Bob, I've talked to other communities all over the place. I talked to different examples. I talked to school districts who are looking to reduce their teachers. They're reducing programs. They're doing all sorts of things. I've got the city of Watertown who wants to, they're asking whether or not we should eliminate our garbage pickup. That was on the new local news also, just so you know. So that tells you how severe this is hitting, and it's hitting everywhere. This is not just our municipality, and I know you know that, you know, I've talked about that. But it is the kind of thing that's a difficult position for all of us to look at, and we will be examining it in further detail. I mean, I can't offer you an answer right now because of what's going on, so we have to proceed in this kind of vein right now is what we're looking at. But we, in fact, will be continue to look, try to manage this, because I agree with you. I don't believe it's sustainable.
Particularly for people on fixed income.
Well, I don't think it's sustainable for most municipalities, period. Because when we're looking at, we might be in a time period where this is what's going on. That's occurred previously. But it's also the kind of thing that if we don't work hard, and we're examining where we can cut costs and do a variety of different things and think out of the box is what we're looking at. Because by doing that, we have an opportunity to look at things differently and talk to our people in our community to see whether or not. I have one major problem that most people in the community have certain beliefs and understandings of what they really want to have happen in their community, how things are supposed to be done, what services they want to be provided, et cetera. And when you start getting into that, that's when everything goes the devil in a handbag on you. And you know that as well. So that's what we're trying to avoid, but we're trying to provide them value. That's what we're really looking. I hope that helps answer your question. We're working on this already. We haven't turned our back on it. We know there's much work to do in the future here, because I do not see next year as being any better. That's my personal opinion. And I'm going to say that to you.
And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's on, no matter what your age is, most people are what you would consider on a fixed income. They have a job that they earn a certain amount of money, unless they want to add to their job workload, unless they want to move to a different job, which isn't always available to them or something, you know, so we have taken that into consideration, as we've mentioned before. We are looking at different ways of trying to cut the costs. I think we've proven ourselves in the past several years of this particular board of cutting costs as much as we can, or holding the line as much as we can. This year is difficult, and it's going to change the tax rate in the direction that we haven't done in the last 3 years. We've lowered it the last 3 years. This will be the first time that we've raised it. I don't recall what we raised it to from the 720 when we did it in 2016, but it obviously went up, you know, 7%. So whatever that is, pick it backwards, maybe Dan, the teacher can tell me. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, you know, we have really looked hard. Last year, the tax rate was lowered because we took the time to really review where our spending habits had been. And we kind of brought it, we kind of like, I want to say recentered ourselves. So we kind of brought everything down. That's why we were able to lower the tax rate last year. But it came back to hurt us in certain ways, because some of, again, beyond the village's control, some of the national grid bills were not being billed to the village until after the fact. And we had to pay those bills off or whatever. So, you know, there were certain extenuating things that were not really clear in the budget process last year, because of the way other people were handling their business, National Grid for one, that caused us to pay extra money out that we weren't planning on. But if you look at historically, well, you've only paid this much, but we've been budgeting here. We cut some of that stuff down. This year, of course, they've not only we had to pay the regular what we owed, but now they've added significantly to all that. We're looking right now at our car charging station, which is down at Limestone Plaza. When that was installed, it was installed through a grant. It was installed that there is no charge. There still is no charge for somebody to go there and plug their car in and charge their car. That bill has increased. Karen might remember the numbers, but it's increased significantly, especially this past year. So we're in the,
There's always a car park there,
right.
always.
And probably not even a village resident car, perhaps. But anyway, we're looking now into how we change that to be a paid type of system. So at least whether we make money on it or at least break even on it, we just kind of want to break even, at least to get that burden off of us. So though there's little things that are happening that aren't so publicly talked about or done right at the moment, but as Mark's mentioned, Jane and Dan had mentioned, it's things that we are constantly looking at to try and look at to see how we can do that. So I appreciate you coming and saying something, because you can see we don't get a full house here, ever. But I do appreciate you coming to question us and to challenge us and to put us, to continue to help us work hard at making things as best we can for the residents here. Did you have anything else? Anybody else about the budget as far as the public hearing is concerned?
Only budget or other things?
Just the budget at this point.
Okay,
All right. So motion to close. the
I'll
public-
move to close the public hearing on the budget.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you. All right,
Could we
they,
do one other thing? Could we schedule a work session for the budget in the next week so we could actually take a look at some of the things we've been talking about?
yes, and do we want to include Jim? Because if I do, I don't want to schedule it
If
till.
he's
I talk to
available, that
him.
would be nice.
Okay,
So if you could do that, because I would like to make sure we have another one.
so I have a motion, or Mark is making a motion to schedule one more budget workshop just to review everything one final time before our vote next meeting. If we're gonna have Jim, our accountant here, then I need to check his availability and schedule. It'll be after the 15th when tax season ends, but I will check with that and see. So we can just make that a notation that we will do that, and it will be publicized on the website and announced when we're having that budget workshop, if anybody's interested to know when that is.
Right. As a workshop, the public is allowed to come to the workshop and witness what's going on, but they're not asked to participate, just so you know. But that's, you're always welcome.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is a public hearing regarding the tax cap override for this coming year's budget. So motion. So just in regards to talking about that before we had the public hearing, this is something that has been implemented by New York State in regards to a 2% tax cap. If the village does not pass the tax cap override and we exceed the 2% based upon their formula, which is a little bit complicated formula of how you come to that 2%. It's just not a straight 2%. There's this index and that index you got to factor into it along the way. If we don't pass the tax cap override and we go over the tax cap, then we don't have the funds to run the village, basically, at the end of the day. I don't know if I said that right, Ted, or not, but kind of, we have to go backwards. We have, since this has become law, we have always passed the tax cap override.
Yeah, it's just.
As a matter of fact,
gives
just to protect the village
flexibility.
resident from having to pay any kind of additional fees
Yeah,
that
and
they.
avoid get penalized
Yeah.
and losing state aid.
Right. This again was passed by New York State, who has a April 1st budget deadline, which they have not met, and do not have to comply with the 2% tax cap
They don't.
override either.
They don't have to do it.
So that's just a little extra. Motion
Couldn't
to.
help yourself.
I couldn't, well, I mean, it's things that we are challenged with that we have to do, and part of some of the stuff that we have to do here is state mandated things that we don't have control over, but we cost the village money to comply with them. And we're happy to do most of them for them. A motion to open the public hearing,
So moved.
Second,
moved and seconded, all in favor?
I,
Okay,
you passed it, right?
yeah, other municipalities, I think, do it regularly or whatever, I mean, it's a matter.
I don't remember when we didn't.
Okay, any comments? Okay, motion to close the public hearing,
Sorry.
okay. And then
I moved it, we
we have a local law here. in
oh, it's
regards
got
to
it
that.
all written. Okay, thanks, Ted.
Karen did all that.
Thanks, Gary.
So this will be in the minutes for
Okay.
everyone, but it is basically the same local law that we've passed each time in regards to passing a tax cap override in regards to our budget.
So moved.
second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And finally, we have a public hearing regarding Charter Spectrum franchise agreement. And so this is a 15-year agreement with Charter Communications. And this is again money that comes to the village because we allow charter to have their utilities going through the village. Is
Yep.
that a simple way to say it?
Absolutely.
And so because the village allows for them to pass through here and supply residents with services, we have to, or we should accept this resolution. To do that, this has to be approved by the Public Service Commission.
Do the public hearing first.
Yeah, I'm just on what it is.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got there.
Oh, good for bringing me back in. So I'll have motion to
Don't
open the
move,
public
open the
hearing.
Public hearing.
I'll say.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now that I explained it, anybody have any questions about it?
And you. Oh,
Oh, no, I was just curious, so it's a 15-year agreement?
15-year agreement. This replaces an agreement that we had the previous 15 years.
So it ends in 2041.
Whatever, 15 years.
15 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a long, yeah.
well,
So much changes during that time too.
It's shorter than your mortgage usually.
what happened, we used to be in charge of this. Then the federal government decided that they wanted the revenue. So what they did was they took it away from the local municipalities, the state and the local municipalities. And they said, we'll take care of it. We will make sure that you're part of the charter, but before you get yours, we'll get ours. That was 15 years ago.
And it changed back, so then the agreement was with you guys?
No, that's why we have the agreement.
no, that's why we have the agreement.
Gotcha, okay, so it's really a federal.
It's the same thing. We're
Yeah.
just, we're just renewing.
We're just renewing it. It's an agreement we've already had. We just are
That
renewing it.
before we were in charge, what the rate would be.
Now they tell us what the rate will be, so.
And actually, it's part of our revenue to keep your taxes down, by the way.
Okay,
This is why we're in the situation we're in with our budget.
any other comments from the public? A motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close.
Okay, all in favor? And then, again, this will be into the minutes, this agreement, but, motion to, sign the franchise
So moved.
agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And it's actually signed by the village clerk. For anybody's information. Okay, next we have the parade permit for the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah, just an annual requirement, grade.
So just saying that we're gonna have a
We
parade.
do have
Yes.
you guys permit
So motion to
on
have
May 25th.
have the mayor sign the parade permit.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Gotta go get my parade outfit.
Oh, my. Not that far off, actually.
This is 250 years, so.
Of the country.
Twice
Yeah.
as long.
No, I know. You're right. Or Memorial Day.
Oh, right.
Okay, I meant for the country.
That's right, we should reverse it.
Oh, my God.
Next solicitor's permit for True Green.
Yes, we have one solicitor's permit. We've gone through, there's 4 solicitors working for True Green. They passed the background checks. The usual parameters.
So moved to grant the permit.
I'll second it.
Morgan seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
In regards to solicitor's permit, we did have an organization that was in here soliciting without a permit, and they ended up in front of our village court and got fined. So there was income from the village court.
Because there's a number of people around.
Right, no, I know, and they,
And they didn't get to bother you, Bob.
well, I don't know who they bothered, but they were,
Going around, I called the police on.
was he from that, where,
Something from 9, well, save you money, but it was listed permit, or I was talking to the police, they thought, I don't know what happened.
oh, that might have been,
Solar company that.
oh, it was the solar.
The solar
company. Yeah,
company
so it
that-
might have been the same person that how we got them, but
There's a
if
lot of
people don't
reasons.
call about it, then we don't know about it sometimes.
We don't know. The
Thank you,
problem,
you definitely call the police, to let them know.
But they came right out.
Yeah,
one of the problems we have is they might go to the county or to the town and get a permit, even though it's not good in the village.
I always worry about somebody who's trying to.
Right.
Fast one,
Yeah.
Right. Again, there's a lot of things out there like that.
Way in or-
Okay. Trustee updates, third here, and we'll go there, because James third.
I've
Or
been
give her a
so
minute to
busy,
read
but
through.
first of all, I want to say thank you to the chief. And Sarah and all the people in the town, everybody else working on trying to get the MOU put together. It was nice working in that arrangement. I do know that it's going to be difficult ahead of us, but as Supervisor Sarah and I talked about, it's going to take us time to do what we need to do properly. And actually get to the point where we can make some real serious decisions about this. And so we look forward to doing that. And for our environment, we know that there are many things that are unsustainable. Least of all our taxes, Bob, by the way, but it has to do with how we do business on certain things, and we have to look at different ways to do things. So that's the other part to look forward. So I'll go over there and stuff there.
Okay. Dan? Okay. Dan?
Oh, geez, it's a way to start this report.
I can only wait.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the street lights down on Linden. We got a request from a resident. Take a look, go down there, dark sometimes, it's very dark. I don't know where they would go. Just,
Well, if we put one, we're only putting one down there, it's a short block.
yeah, I know, I understand
Okay.
that, but I mean, take a look and, okay. You already talked about the changes in, on the electronic hookups or the electricity hookups down on Brooklyn, so I'm not gonna go into that. I'm in the process of trying to find an agency that will put the chargers in, and at the same time, we will get some money out. I would like the board's permission, when I ever get a hold of Niagara Mohawk, until this all takes place, and I know that it will be fairly soon, to shut them off. Put a sign there and say they're closed.
Why, the charger, the electric charger?
Because we're paying for it, that we're not getting any money back from it, so we suggesting we turn it off.
It's been bothering me for over a year now. I mean, I'll be happy that we can just leave them going, but I don't know how long it's gonna
It's like
be.
$1 an hour, but now, if they're hooked up to a level 2 charger, it's like $1 per hour. If they're-
I don't remember the exact numbers, so I don't want to be quoted on them, but I thought our bill went from like 500 to 1,500 or something. I mean, it went up very
I have
significantly.
in a level 2
Yeah,
charger,
yeah.
$1 an hour that you're on.
That what? Couple of the bills came through for $2,000 or.
No, I'm just saying, if you get a car on there 24/7, that's, if it's on there 24 hours a day, it's $24 for that car to be on that for 24 hours.
The only
That's your
benefit,
cost.
the only benefit we get out of it is our coach officer has a card to charge and he takes it down. That's our benefit. So I'm working on that. I'm that close. I would work with another company, except I have trouble understanding the language. Okay,
So how does the board feel about shutting them down, if we can shut them down until we can get the charging part of it?
Temporary shutdown.
Temporary
it
shutdown.
will be
not-
very temporary,
We
but
didn't say.
first of all, I can't get a hold of Niagara Mohawk. Okay, but we'll go from
I
there.
hope it's National Grid these days. We'll leave that alone.
What?
We hope it's National Grid these days.
Green team put those in?
Um,
Okay, I gave everybody,
They might have helped, because it was part of a grant in the beginning, wasn't it?
it was a
done.
grant.
So
Yeah, we-
maybe, I get, yeah,
Green team?
Green Team, if they were instrumental in helping with the installation initially because of the grant that was funded,
Right.
they may be a resource to help us.
I can
So I'll
get
have
you
to
their
look
phone
into.
number.
I've got another one.
Do a lot of work.
I've
Yeah,
got,
so
I've got one, I think is. All we have to do is then, we have to decide what rates we want to charge. There's different
The
types. of-
processor right now is ChargePoint. I would believe you
I
can
know,
work
but
with them to have.
good luck.
The machine shut down regardless of the electricity to it. Okay, and but you're thinking you just go right to National Grid and.
When
let
I'm
them
talking to the
different-
person at National Grid, hopefully he's gonna explain some things to me. But I know the ones that Core has, I think are better.
They're a different company, okay.
Yeah, different company.
Those are quite old in the age of EV chargers, so.
Sure. Okay, well, we have a new director for the Recreation Committee. Her name is Kelly Smith. She is pretty well known in local area because she was at one point town clerk for the town of DeWitt. And actually for a very short period of time, she was supervisor for the town. Person, you know her, Jason? Next, Easter egg hunt was great. Nice job, Mark. Thanks to the recreation for putting the things together, and thanks especially to the bunny and the guide for the bunny.
And the bunny's quite upset that the bunny wasn't on the cover of the Eagle Bulletin. It was a different bunny.
Express that, Jason.
That was an.
I thought that was our bunny.
No, that wasn't our bunny.
If you,
Oh, my.
That was somebody else's buddy. I know. I talked to Jason about this already.
you can't win, Jason. Don't worry, it's all right.
I got pictures from Jim Hughes though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know, they were good. They're all good.
okay.
We were just hearing from our bunny.
And one last-
She's funny like that.
One last note, congratulations to Sarah. You know, I know it's temporary, but you know, nice going. Congratulations.
Okay, you're good?
Yep.
Dane?
Well, I'll start out with the congratulations to Sarah.
Yeah, good.
So, I do know that we are going to have a public meeting on May 6th for the zoning update. So that's scheduled already. That's a Monday and most likely from 5 to 7. Those time frame may adjust a little bit. And it'll be at the Center for Active Adults. And I know that code officer, he provided a list of different municipalities with different fee arrangements that they use, and so we're gonna take a look at that and understand where and if we want to adjust some of our fees that involve the code officer.
Right,
So-
I put information in your,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
I wish you did that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's information in there, but
Okay.
what I think. I just put the information in there, okay, that Mike gave. Okay, now it's up to us to come up with a solution.
Well, yes, it's up to us to.
And what I was planning on doing, I was waiting for everybody to take a look at that because I just got them in there, yesterday or maybe Friday. But what I wanted to do is take a look at it. I'm gonna make up, and the sheet is gonna be my thoughts on it, and then everybody can tear it apart and put in what their thoughts
Oh,
are.
so you're gonna take the lead on this? All right,
I did take the lead. I told you.
you're gonna continue taking the lead on this.
Well, I can. I mean, I told you at the last meeting, I had that information and everybody sat here and said that you would all like it, so I put it all together and you have it. Well,
Well,
you can do it.
I got a lot going on. That's fine.
Okay,
There's no need for double, is
okay,
what I'm saying.
but
So
you have something in your box.
I actually have that something right here.
Okay, all right. And will your next meeting for the zoning will be that the full committee?
That meeting I just mentioned is a public meeting.
Okay,
And before that meeting, we will have a working draft of our proposed zoning update out to the public to look at.
beautiful.
And on May 6th, we will have all of our consultants at the meeting as well as the zoning advisory committee to talk with anybody and everybody about the proposed update. There will be, before May 6th, there will be one more advisory committee meeting. We have some details to go through, and then once we're done with those, we're just gonna get a working draft. It'll be a working draft, so.
The working draft won't be available before the advisory,
No,
the interim. You have one more meeting and then after that.
after that advisory committee meeting, there will be a,
Draft available for the May 6th,
yes,
but okay,
yes, but not before the advisory committee meeting.
so
That doesn't make sense, because that's why we're meeting.
that's what I figured, I just
Yeah.
wanted to confirm that, okay.
I have one more question about it. will, before it, at the meeting where the public comes, will there be a statement prior to everyone asking questions, saying this is why we're doing it?
Oh, we were not planning to have any kind of presentation or statement. The purpose for the public meeting, and it's really emphasized that this is a meeting, is not a public hearing. It is a public meeting.
Okay,
Purpose for the public meeting is to let the public look at the update as best they can and come in with questions. And if it's, you know, if they just want to come in and say, help me walk through this update, we're here
it's
to,
not a public hearing, how can they?
it's not a,
Questions.
because it's a meeting. You can come in and meet and talk to
And
people.
like an informational.
It's like an
Okay.
informational meeting.
Just walk around,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
like
yeah.
we've done before.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's not a final draft, it's a working draft. The goal for the meeting is a two-way flow of information. Information to the public and also from the public to the advisory committee on what they like or don't like about what's being proposed. And why, and then the advisory committee can react to that. Any more questions?
I'll go. May what?
Six.
Not during the day though, night.
It is from 5 to 7. We are talking about the possibility of having what we call office hours during the day, but we have not set up those times yet so that people can come during the day and maybe even on weekends, so people can come on weekends and we can still be around to talk with folks. But those times have yet to be established.
So May fifth, that's.
Six,
That's
Tuesday,
Tuesday,
you know.
that's Monday,
Monday.
May 6th.
The 6th is the Wednesday?
May 6th.
So Wednesday or Monday? I don't know. I'm not looking at a calendar.
I'm very sorry, Sarah, you're totally right. Never mind. I've got Delta brain right now. It is a Wednesday. It is still May 6th, but it's a Wednesday.
There will be public or notices sent.
There'll be
out
plenty of
anyway
notices
to
going out,
everybody
yeah.
And things to get
But
the
I
day
put
and
it
the
on the
time.
website.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's all.
Anybody in the audience have anything?
So you came out to my house and we talked.
So I came to your house and talked. Somebody that must have been watching one of our meetings recently sent me an email and suggested that we could solve the problem by asking the state to take that location off of their website about where to get in and out of there or whatever. So I just am in the process of formulating that request. And then we'll look at I'll have the board and the DPW look at your property and see about moving the sign a little bit or whatever.
So is it all right if I approach here?
Sure.
Because you and I also talked about signage. And I just,
Yeah, we're not big on signs, but you can bring it something to us. That's
Oh. all I was thinking was something like this. It's not telling people what to do. Right now, the sign encourages them to park in front of my house. And it doesn't discourage them from parking, you know, multiple and having 4 or 5. And I've got a lot of pictures where they do that. And all it does is it just says, here, this is a, you know, polite way to enjoy the park. But to park. I don't think there's anything offensive in here. I just think it would be a nice little kind of encouragement. If they don't, it's not, I mean, all we can do is encourage. And then I was just saying, if we just move the signs a little bit, because right now, where the sign is encourages them to park right in front of my
Right
house
to the
and
sign,
as
yeah.
deep as they want to go.
Yeah.
I honestly. I think how do they say it? Something's already out of the bottle. I mean, you can change something on the internet. It's not really gonna, you have your regulars, you know? And I mean, it might change people coming for the first time out of state,
Mhm.
but that's not the majority of the traffic.
Yeah,
We'll see.
And so
I'll
if
see.
somebody saw us that's whatever. I see it every day. I see what it looks like every day. So for someone to see us standing out there for 5 minutes on that day, I just don't see how asking the state to change their marketing. It's been out there for 10 years. And I just think this is pretty reasonable. And it would be a very easy fix. I mean, you guys have, suggested making a parking lot. It's just signs. It's doing the same thing, but instead of encouraging them to park in front of my house, it's just encouraging a different pattern. I just don't see how anybody could be against this. It's saying visitors, so when my neighbor's kids come, they're not visitors, they're family and they're parked right there. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty reasonable.
We'll look at it. Thank you.
You know what, I do want, if it's okay, I just wanted to mention, that the Parks Commission is taking its first step in updating its Parks Master Plan, and it's going to hold for that commission what I call a visioning session at the library. Don't have the date, but they're just gonna be active. They're getting organized and coordinated and moving forward. And I wanted to keep the board apprised of what's going on.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything, guys? I just have a few things. Congratulations to Sarah. We've did a lot of attended many of our meetings over a lot of years, so we're very familiar with Sarah.
Are you gonna keep coming, or do we have?
There will be another liaison.
Can't do everything, right? But thank you for coming tonight and congratulations on your appointment. Again, the Easter egg hunt was very successful and thanks to everybody involved. And to Jason for coming and being there with us and stuff. We appreciate that a lot. And for being here tonight, we appreciate that. The bridge project in Lower Fayetteville on Limestone Plaza. There is a meeting that Tyler will be attending, a kind of a contractors meeting on Wednesday. So he might have some more updates for us that we will share with you once we know what those updates are. We were approached by New York State, who must be receiving a few complaints about the no left turn onto High Bridge during the course of the construction, where people can't go down around through there. So it was suggested that they might cover that sign that says no left turn temporarily until the bridge reopens. I said that the village would be fine with that as long as it was put back to the way it is once the bridge is reopened, because it has helped with the flow of traffic, having people go down or out the other bridge and the other way. That's underway. Just a few things more regarding our budgeting process and things like that, and things that we're doing, because we've already just talked about them a little bit, is we will be we're reviewing, and what Dan asked Mike, our codes officer, to get were surrounding communities, their fee structures for any kind of building permits and any kind of codes related types of fees. And we're going to be looking at our fees. And I've said this already to the board during our budget workshop, and we talked about this a little bit, is Fayetteville code fees, or fees in general, don't have to mimic what everybody else is doing. We have to come up with our own, but it's nice to see what everybody else is doing to see where we fall in that whole process. That'll be one way to perhaps increase some revenue in that office that we don't have currently, or that we have, but we could enhance that revenue. We could do the same with the clerk's fees, because occasionally there is a call for when people are getting mortgages to have tax searches done and things of that nature. We do charge something for that now, but we can look at all of our fees associated with those types of things, particularly as we look at ways to increase revenue coming into the village outside of tax sources, or, tax levies. The other thing I happened to look up is the assessment of two properties in the village. And the assessment at Circle K, a small parcel of property with a convenience store gas station on it, is assessed at 1.3 million. The assessment at the property next door, 547 East Genesee Street, is assessed at $850,000. So with the progression and advancement of the perhaps grocery store that's going to be there, hopefully at some point in time, that will add tax base and tax revenue to the village of Fayetteville taxpayers in general. So I know there's mixed feelings about the whole project, but the project, if it does go forward, would help to offset some of these increased costs that we are facing. There's not a lot of properties in the village that are redeveloping or that are able to be developed because we don't have a lot of vacant property here. But that is certainly one that is a potential to help offset some of the future costs of the village. The other thing that is coming up, and we will have more information after the middle of the month, is Mark and I will be meeting with an engineer who is going to come and look at the HVA system, both in this building and at the fire department, with the potential opportunity to apply for some grants to do the geothermal system. So Mark's my backup when my memory goes a little fuzzy. So he's more familiar.
You're
with
looking
it.
at the wrong guy sometimes, I'll
He's
tell you.
more familiar with
It's
that
be
term
hard.
than I am. But anyway, we are looking at that. So, and hopefully if we would have a viable project, it is hopeful that there would be, and there is some grant opportunities out there for that. We have somebody from county planning, right? Isabella's with
Of the New York Regional Planning.
Central New York Regional Planning Development that is assisting us with that type of thing. That's one of the things that we had been talking about last budget year about our Fayetteville village building reserve accounts and things like that, that we had to start planning for stuff that has to be replaced. The HVAC system in the fire department building and this building both are going to need attention soon. So it is another avenue that we're looking at to update our buildings without cost to residents directly.
Actually, one of the reasons why we're looking at this, we think it's right to do environmentally, but the other part is financially, if we get the grant, the grant, it'll cost us less to do a geothermal than to do a straight HVAC replacement. And that's really one of the big things. It's like, for us, it's a win-win. So it keeps us long-term so that we're using less and less energy. And also in a position where if we can get the grant, we're going to be in the position where we actually cost us less to do this, substantially less than if we just did a HVAC replacement. So that's what we're looking at.
And I think that's all I have.
I'll move to adjourn.
Oh, Ted. Oh, Ted, did you have anything?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I move to adjourn second. A favor?
Aye.
Thank you.